Last Sunday, a brother drove all the way to another city to meet me. When I met him, I could see he was in quite a state. He was suffering from an issue that we want to raise the awareness of our community as it relates to this issue, because in this masjid, a lot of people are dealing with it, or a lot of our relatives are dealing with it. It is a serious problem, dealing with mental illnesses. He was, and he is, suffering from waswas. Waswas. Everybody here suffers from waswas. There's not a single person except that he or she has waswas. And waswas, which is the whispers that come from a shaytaan, it has an assorted number of cousins and relatives under the same umbrella. So the person has speculation, the person suffers from suspicion, the person has doubt, has all kind of issues. So he came all the way to that city, and when I saw him, I said, yeah, this brother has an issue, and this is an ongoing thing. You deal with it all the time with people from our community. Not only that, but personally, I had 2 family members in Islam who suffer from waswas. My wife worked herself out of that. And in 18 years of marriage, that lady did not miss making the adhkar before going to bed in 18 years of marriage, from what I saw. And now she doesn't have waswas at all. But everybody has waswas. But the one who has some level of, normality, he can bring his waswas in control. He remembers what the Prophet said, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, "Iyyakum wadh-dhann fa inna adh-dhann akdhab al-hadith." Beware of speculating. Beware of being suspicious, because usually that's wrong. So when one of the people who is normal, when he starts or she starts to speculate and have suspicion, they push it away. And they say that's from a shaytaan. And the Prophet said, don't do it. And it's going to twist you up and mess you up. That's for people who don't suffer from waswas. As for the one who suffers from waswas, it's a mushkila. The brother is listening to me. One of us says to his wife, I regret the day marrying you. I'm sick of you and I'm sick of this marriage. And that's what he says. That's what you said to your wife. That's what I said to my wife. That's what your wife said to you. That's how it is. Almost everybody in here who's married, you're going to say something that you didn't mean to your wife that's hurtful. She's going to say something back to you. One of the two are going to say more, the other one's going to say less. But that's something that's normal. Except for the one that Allah gave him or her isma and al-hifd al-ilahi. I'm sick and tired of you, and I'm sick and tired of this marriage. But for the one who has waswas, this means that he's divorced. And he lives his life, I'm divorced because I said that to my wife. And no matter what you say to him or her, it's going to be hard for them to accept it. So this particular brother, may Allah help us and him, after going to 10 people, 10 du'at, shuyukh, 10, I was number 11. He drove me home, I listened to the story. After hearing the story, I said, it's very simple, brother. Are you done? Yes. I said, you're not divorced. The hadith of the Prophet is clear, and he knew the hadith. إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّاتِ. I'm not even going to translate it, because everybody knows it. That was not your niyyat. And Allah mentioned in the Qur'an, وَأَنْ لَيْسَ لِلْإِنسَانِ إِلَّا مَا سَعَى وَإِنَّ سَعْيَكُمْ سَوْفَ يُرَى. The human being will not get anything except what he desired and he intended, and he worked towards it. And your efforts are going to be seen by Allah as sa'i, like a sa'i between Safa and Marwa. So the meaning of sa'i, as the ayah said, is what you intend and what you work towards. Now, if you just sit there and twiddle your thumbs and say, I'm going to Jannah, and you don't do any work, and you don't do any intentions, and this is what this ayat is talking against. But the ayat is applicable here. You didn't intend that. You didn't mean that. When a person makes a sa'i between Safa and Marwa, after finished sa'i, he's not going to say, I just made tawaf around the Kaaba. A sa'i is with your niyyah. I was the 11th person who told him that. Some time went by, He relaxed. We stopped talking. I woke up. He brought it back up again. Am I married to my wife? No, ya akhi, you're not married. And then I saw what the issue was. So I wanted to bring this to your attention because, like me, you're the community member that has to deal with the husband like that, the wife like that. Like me, I had to deal with that brother. We got to deal with people like that. So I want to address this issue for people like him and the community, inshallah. Second thing happened. On Wednesday, I get a call from someone in America. They reached out to me. They told me about an incident that blew my mind. The lady who I know took her daughter, took the son to the grandparents. Happy to see the kid. Dropped them off. Never came back to get the kid. When they went, what's going on? After so many days, the lady was there in the house, blew her brains out. Why did she kill herself? Waswas. Waswas. Not schizophrenia. Waswas. She couldn't live with the waswas in her head. And that's another thing. This issue of waswas. When the person is in the room, the waswas is not under the bed. The waswas is not in the cabinet, in the dulab. That waswas is in the head. It's in the heart. And it's not okay for you to come and say, get over it. Come on, it's just Shaytaan. Can't say that to these people. Because they are not processing things and thinking and analyzing normally. They have an issue. Worse than that, or just as bad, is the isolation. They come to our community and it's an aib, to have any mental disorder. Although the vast majority of people in this masjid have some kind of mental issue. From severe to mild. Everybody in here. From severe to mild. Except for the one that Allah gave him, his hifz al-ilahi. So one of our community members, they go to the doctor and they are afraid to say what happened. Because they feel, hey, I can't talk. They're going to think I'm crazy if I start saying to the doctor, you know, khinzib keeps coming to me. Khinzib, what's that? That's the one who comes to you, makes waswas when you're praying. Now the doctor is going to diagnose him or her as someone who's hallucinating, schizophrenic. So the person just suffers in silence. Big mushkila in our community. It's a big issue. And it creates all kinds of issues. For the people who have waswas, whether it's severe, moderate, or just what most people have, Shaytaan comes to you and he makes waswas. There are a number of things that you have to try to do. Now, my wife, my other family member who is not doing these things, if you're not doing these things, then you're blameworthy. I'm going to tell you right here, on behalf of your wife, you're making life difficult. How in the world do you expect your wife to live with you amicably? How do you think she can live with you with sakin and mawadda when one word will trigger you? One word will trigger you. So because the person says, get out of here, to his wife, get out of here, he thinks she's divorced. So the word out, if the wife says, I'm getting out of here, oh, and you expect that lady to be able to live with you. She won't be able to live with you. There's going to come a point where she can't take it anymore. So the people who suffer from this, you can't be a poor bunny rabbit and just sit back and say, everybody has to love me unconditionally. No, I'm here on this minbar saying all of our community have to support these people. Don't laugh at them, don't ridicule them, don't make them isolated. We have to say in our community, our masjid is here to help you. We're here to help you. You're the topic of today's discussion, but you have a level of responsibility because I cannot be patient all the time. There are going to be times where I wake up on the wrong side of the bed. There are going to be times when it's hot out here. There's going to be times when we're dealing with stuff. And if you don't try to do some of these things, then you are blameworthy. And from those things that we can do and that you should do, and at the top of the list is what the Prophet mentioned, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Tremendous hadith. He says, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, inna Allah tajawaza an ummati ما حدثت به أنفسها ما لم تعمل أو تتكلم Allah will forgive all of my ummah, all of my community, when they think about things internally. When they think about whatever it is, it's dirty, it's nasty, it's crazy. The normal person may see it in a dream. He's doing something with someone that is out of this world. He wakes up saying, A'udhu billahi. Just thinking about it makes him want to vomit. Prophet Muhammad says, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Allah will forgive you for that kalam that goes off in your head, your dreams. You're sitting there and you start thinking crazy stuff and you're awake. He said, as long as you don't talk about it and as long as you don't act upon it. So if someone comes and you say, hey, I saw in a dream I was smoking weed with my moms. All right, now you're in trouble. Now the angel writes that down. But as long as you're quiet and you don't act upon it, you're not responsible. Just like the one who's fasting and he drinks and eats while he's fasting. That's how his nafs is. Like the one who goes to sleep and he doesn't wake up on time for Fajr unintentionally. La yukallifullahu nafsan illa wus'aha. So I say to the person with waswas, la tatakallam, don't talk about it to the best of your ability. Make jihad the nafs and keep that stuff inside to the best of your ability. Secondly, the dhikr of Allah. Allah mentioned in the Qur'an, إِنَّ الَّذِينَ اتَّقَوْا إِذَا مَسَّهُمْ طَائِفٌ مِّنَ الشَّيْطَانِ تَذَكَّرُوا فَإِذَا هُمْ مُبْصِرُونَ. Those people who are touched by the devil, they get messed by the devil, waswas, whatever. They get touched by the devil. If they remember Allah, lo and behold, they can see right. So the Prophet taught us, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, things to do. From this waswas, ikhwani, we have this huzn. Huzn is sadness. Ahzan, sadness. It comes as a result of the bad experiences in the past. You saw something bad happened to you. You heard something bad. And as a result, you're now and today, you're suffering because of what happened in the past. But then there's the things that are going to happen in the future, inshallah. And they create anxiety. Those things create al-iktiyab, depression, because she's worried. Listen to her. She's worried. What is she worried about? If I die, will my kids will they stay on Islam? And she worries herself to death. Her stomach gets big and bloated. She can't sleep. She has pain. And she is worrying about something. You should worry about that. Will your children remain Muslims? May Allah give our kids tabat after our death. She should worry about that. But not to the degree where you can't sleep, you can't eat. But that's what she has. Waswas puts her stomach like a pretzel. And you, the one who loves her, you come and say, don't worry about that. Allah is the wakil. Allah Azza wa Jal is enough as a hasib. Don't worry. It's not like she's against that. You tell that brother as if he wants to hear he's divorced. I'm the 11th one. Yo, brother, what, you want to be divorced? Allah said in the Qur'an, وَلَا تَسْأَلُوا عَنْ أَشَاءٍ تُبْدَ لَكُمْ تَسُؤْكُمْ. Don't ask about those things. If they were to be made apparent to you, they're going to cause you harm. Do you want to be divorced? No, he doesn't want to be the divorce. He doesn't want that. He just can't help it. It's difficult for him. So if he or she, they're making wudu at the basin and you see them and you're there to make muraqabah, you tell them after they finish, hey, you did everything and you did everything correctly and 3 times. They're going to say to you, no, I didn't. Wa Rabbil Kaaba. They have a condition. So as the husband, the father, the brother, the sister, the imam, as the neighbor, the distant relative, I don't laugh at them people. I have to support them. Never argue with them about the issue because they're talking to you from a place that's dark for them. Now you get upset and frustrated and you're arguing with them and that causes the problem to escalate. It's not the way. We say to that person, you have to make the dhikr of Allah. And from the dhikr of Allah, every night before going to sleep, the Prophet made ruqya, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He read Ayatul Kursi. He read Qul Huwallahu Ahad. And the last 2 surahs of the Qur'an. And in the last surah of the Qur'an, you're seeking al-isti'adha, help from Allah against the shaytan. Min sharri al-wiswas al-khannas alladhi yuwaswisu fi sudurin nas. That's seeking refuge in Allah from shaytan. Listen, Ummatul Islam. Our Nabi and our Rasul alayhi salam came with a religion. And he taught us certain dua that are divine protection. And one of those dua is the dua for this stuff. Now, I'm not going to go through that whole dua, but I'm going to ask this person in our audience. You hear this khutbah, and you say, Alhamdulillah, finally, you hear this khutbah. I want to ask you, did you memorize the dua of Waswas? You didn't memorize the dua. Did any Muslim here memorize the dua of Waswas? Because in this dua, everybody here is affected. And what this dua is saying. من أصابه هم أو هم من أصابه هم أو غم فليدعو بهذه الكلمات. Anyone who is afflicted with anxiety, or he's afflicted with gloom and doom, and he's down, anyone who has this worry, anyone, if he makes this dua, it'll go away. Easy dua. Allahumma inni abduka wabnu abdika wabnu amatika. To the end. ناصيتي بيدك ماض في حكمك عدل في قضاؤك. Tremendous hadith. It'll make you and it'll teach you. Don't feel sorry for yourself for your wiswas, because Allah is adil. He's just in what he decreed on you. And your forehead is in Allah's hands. Everywhere and every place Allah wants you to go and what to happen to you or not, that's with Allah, not you or me. And it's been written that waswas hits you. So don't say, woe is me, I'm the poor bunny rabbit. Say the dua and learn this dua. Part of that dua, Allahumma inni as'aluka bi kulli ismin huwa laka. سميت به نفسك أو علمته أحدا من خلقك أو أنزلته في كتابك أو استأثرت به في علم الغيب عندك أن تجعل القرآن ربيع قلبي ونور صدري. I'm going to ask the person who suffers from miswas. I'm a revert. I memorized 3 or 4 ayat surahs of the Qur'an. Am I exempt from trying to help myself? Is that an excuse? I'm a revert. My wife is a revert. She doesn't know Arabic, but she had waswas. So in that dua against waswas and against this issue, oh Allah, I beg you and I ask you, make the Qur'an the spring of my heart, and make the Qur'an, make it the nur of my chest. So that goes to show the Muslim should be reading the Qur'an. You got waswas, spend time with the kalam of Allah. How much time have you spent with the book of Allah? And that's a question to all of you. That's a question to me. That's a question to you, Akhi. Yo. How much time did we spend with the Qur'an? So now that we have these mental disorders, and listen, from the Ashratu Sa'ah, Rasulullah told us, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, tunza'u uqulu akthari dhalik az-zaman. The majority of the people close to Yawm al-Qiyamah, the majority, their minds will be gone. Their minds will be gone. That's the condition. So maybe you don't have waswas, you got something else. But that dua, it shows us, or that hadith goes to show us the importance and the role that the Qur'an has and it plays. Ruqya and other than that. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم ونسأل الله تعالى الثبات والسداد. Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalam ala rasulillah. Last thing I want to mention to everybody here is, a shaitan is a big fitna and a big problem. But he said in the Quran, and Allah mentioned in many ayah, Inna ibadi laysa laka alayhim sultan. Hey shaitan, iblis, Allah said, my sincere servants, you don't have and you won't have any power over them. Shaitan said to the human beings, Allah promised you and I promised you, but I broke my promise. And I can't do anything except call you and make whispers. Shaitan can't grab anybody here by the neck and say, I'm going to stop you from praying. He can't grab anybody here and make him roll up a spliff and smoke it. He can't do that. As a matter of fact, if you close a door, he can't open it. If you put something, a towel, a piece of paper, the pot over the top of the pot, if you put the lid on, he can't open it. That's how weak he is. If you say, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, he's going to get in the wind. You read Surah Al-Baqarah, he's going to get in the wind. That's Shaytaan. So we have all of those ayat of the Qur'an. إِنَّمَا سُلْطَانُهُ عَلَى الَّذِينَ يَتَوَلَّوْنَهُ. His strength and power and ability goes over those people who take him as a friend. How do you take him as a friend? You don't pray. Your aqidah, first of all, your aqidah jammed up. You want that hocus pocus cultural Islam. Rasulullah didn't die, Hazir Nazir, that kind of stuff. You were straight up, real, ghali, hizbi, above a strict. No, just be on your religion. Easy religion of Al-Islam. Easy religion of Islam. So as it relates to this issue, I want to say to the community members, very quickly, the brothers told me 20 minutes, get out of here. We got to be done. But because of the nature of this issue, Ummatul Islam, your relatives who are suffering from this, you got to go on the internet and you have to learn clinically and technically how to deal with the people. A lot of times we're not educated and we don't have the wherewithal and the professional, ability to deal with these things. We're emotional. This requires someone who knows the deen and he knows the importance of being patient, being easy. And it requires someone who has read up on this stuff to deal with our brothers and sisters who have waswas. In concluding, we want every Muslim in this masjid and in other than this masjid to know, at GLM, we're not perfect, but we're people who are trying to be on the sunnah according to understanding of what those companions were upon. May Allah be pleased with them. And we're trying to address and take care of the affairs and the needs of the ummah, internationally, nationally, and locally, to the best of our ability. So that means if you fall anywhere in the scale of these mental disorders, waswas, this, that, our imams are here for advice, and our community is here to raise awareness like today. We're here to support our community members. And from this minbar on this day, and concluding this khutbatul Jummah, I ask Allah Azza wa Jal by His Ism al-A'zam to give shifa to all of our brothers and sisters and youngsters who are suffering from this waswas, to give everybody sabr to deal with it from both sides, and that Allah Ta'ala, if He chooses in His infinite wisdom to leave the waswas on people, oh Allah, we ask You to give us the sabr and the wherewithal to be steadfast and patient with it. We ask Him that, and only He can deliver that for us and make it happen for us. And we ask that from Him, inshallah ta'ala. Aqim as-salat, yarhamakumullah.